Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another Sacred Union Energy Update. As you can see, I had intended to do this as a mini reading, but as the cards kept coming out, as I kept being called to go deeper, I have a feeling that's going to be a little bit longer than a mini reading, so we're going to do a full Sacred Union Energy Update today. I have been very hard at work balancing my life, having a lot of some challenging situations that I am healing and dealing with and working on, and balancing that out with some new product and service launches. So I will be launching some new services and products in the month of April. I am hard at work on completing those projects. So make sure that you're signed up for the newsletter and follow me across all my social media platforms to get the latest updates and news. And if you sign up for my newsletter, not only do you get some freebies, but you get access to some secret sales that I run. So make sure that you are signed up so you don't miss anything. Okay, so a lot of energy coming through in this spread. It's because there's a lot of energy that is occurring right now between these counterparts. Now, I do want to say that there has been, I feel like there's something else I want to share. Yes, I will be, as you may have noticed, I am pulling back a little bit on the collective readings just until I get these projects finished and these services launched. But again, that will be launched in April, so make sure that you're stay tuned to my website, newsletter, social media platforms. Make sure you're especially joining me over on Instagram. I cross-post to Facebook because that's where I do a lot of my posting. So make sure that you're over there as well. So I will be pulling back just a little bit, as you may have noticed this week, just because I am busy balancing out many different aspects of my life. Yeah, okay, that's what I wanted to say. All right, I'm so tired, you guys. I've been working at the shop, the crystal shop where I work, the metaphysical shop where I work, just nonstop, plus balancing that out with my own work for this business and the readings and clients and everything. So I am a little bit tired, and moving my house as well. So just bear with me over the next month or so. Things are balancing out. I can absolutely feel it, and it's bringing a lot of peace. It's bringing a lot of excitement. I'm just needing to learn how to rest in the meantime. So, okay, this is why I didn't intend on doing this. Okay, enough blabbing. Let's get going. So, I had channeled a message yesterday. I did a update. It was meant to be a divine masculine and divine feminine update because when I was pulling the cards, I pulled a set for the divine masculine and a set for the divine feminine. I don't usually do that, but that's what I was called to because the energy felt a little bit divided, a little bit split. Now, remember, you're not divided. You are always in union. Everything is in union. Separation is the illusion. But it feels a little bit divided. It feels a little bit split right now. And when I went to do the image of the divine feminine reading or her spread, her cards, it did not want to save. And I tried and I tried and I tried and I thought, okay, does the divine masculine just want to be alone? Is that what's happening here? But no, I felt the resistance from the divine feminine where she was just like, you know what, just leave me alone right now. So I'm going to read you that reading. I posted it on the community tab. I posted it on Instagram and Facebook as well. But I'm going to read it to you here because it's much more eloquently put than I'm capable of doing at the moment. So, divine masculine energy update. The divine masculine got his own energy update. The energy between the DM and DF has been disjointed lately. The equinox energy brought significant shifts, and now there's a recalibration that's happening, leaving the energies to feel scattered and off balance. I told a friend who had also been feeling the, quote, weirdness in the world, that it feels like a puzzle has been thrown in the air, and now all the fragmented pieces are scattered about, trying to find their place again. Interestingly, I had tried to do a double posting for this reading with a spread for the divine masculine and the divine feminine, but I spent way longer than I wanted to trying to save the image of the DF's spread. It just wouldn't work. I would have thought that maybe it was the masculine energy that wanted to be left alone in their own reading, but it was the DF's resistance that I was sensing. That she doesn't want to be anywhere the DM at the She doesn't want to be anywhere near the DM at the moment. For her, we had the Knight of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, and Ten of Cups. She's in an amazing energy, which we can see replicating here, of trying to focus on her own stability and create foundation, balance, and pleasantry, which was a specific word I'm hearing, and she knows the DM's heavy energy is pulling her down and not matching her own. The DM is in a heavy energy, heavier than it's been in a while, which has somewhat lifted here, I'm seeing. The DF is picking up on this, but she's focused on her path, intuitively knowing she can't pick up those scattered pieces for her DM any longer. The DM is feeling all sorts of emotions, awareness of love for their feminine, feeling her energetically pull away, a void within themselves. But they're desperately and intentionally trying to shut themselves down. I'm getting that there's a great opportunity for healing here for the masculine, but that means feeling every emotion and looking deeper inside themselves than they've ever gone. This is frightening for them, particularly their inner child, and so they're putting up a stoic facade. The king, and the spread was what was it? Page of Cups, the King of Swords, and the Knight of Cups, and I'll show you that here if you guys can see it. So the king that was referenced, I continue, isn't the king energy of the divine masculine, but the frozen, cold mask of distortion they'd worn in an attempt to keep control of themselves and their emotions. They want to move forward and heal, recognizing that this old energy and pattern isn't serving to create the life they actually want, but they don't quite know how to move forward. Stagnant energy is actually a divine blessing for them, as it's asking them to look at their actions, behaviors, and patterning in a new light with more clarity. The more they allow themselves to feel their emotions, the more the heart expands, and they'll continue to rise into their true power. Tougher energies coming in for the DM, but if they allow and don't resist the transformation that is occurring, significant breakthroughs and peaceful new beginnings await. Okay, so that being said, moving into this spread, the energy does feel a little bit lighter, especially over on the divine masculine side. It has felt so, again, scattered and heavy and divided or split between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. But remember that you are always in union, that you still are in union, even if you are not with each other, even if you're in no communication, even if you are in other partnerships. And that might trigger some, but understand that every relationship helps us to expand, heal, and grow. And sometimes you need to experience other relationships in order to continue your own growth and healing. Divine masculine has experienced that a lot. We talk about that in the community a lot with these karmic connections, these karmic relationships. Karmic connections are not negative. They're not inherently negative, I should say. Karmic connections get a bad rap because what they are doing is they are healing. They are teaching. They are there for a purpose. It is a soul contract that needs to be completed. And so divine feminines don't put the focus on karmic connections. Divine feminines, you might have karmic connections yourself because you might have relationships coming in that show you, this is how I deserve to be loved. This is how I want to be loved. This is how I want to experience relationship. You might have karmic connections as conscious. This is what I don't want in relationships. This is what I don't deserve. This is what I don't want to experience. So both divine masculine and divine feminines experience karmic connections throughout the course of their lifetime, even possibly over the course of this connection. I don't usually speak about karmic connections because that hasn't been part of my own personal experience, but I do want to bring it up here because karmic connections can be relationships, it could be situations, it could be, anything. Karma is just the energy through which we learn, through which we experience. So even if there are other connections, they are healing. Now, that's not to say that if one of your values is, commitment, that you tolerate anything less than what you deserve when it comes to commitment, when it comes to that. But if you are not with your counterpart, it is okay to explore other connections. If your person is in another connection, and again, not like with the whole cheating scenario, but if they're not with you, then allow them to go through that cycle and complete the cycle of whatever it is that they need to experience. I am going to be hosting a twin flame workshop in April. I have not yet decided on the date. I'm trying to figure out my schedule. But it is going to be talking all about masculine and feminine energies. It is going to be about attachment. It's going to be about karmic connections. We're going to discuss union. We're going to discuss separation. All of what we have been channeling here is going to be discussed in that 3-hour workshop. There's going to be a Q&A. There's going to be a light language transmission for the collective as well. So make sure, again, you're stay tuned to the newsletter and my social media for that announcement as far as the date. It is coming up. I am going to be posting about that very soon. So this is about, I'm calling it the twin flame truths. You guys know I don't like the word twin flame, but I am going to be presenting it as such because I feel like we kind of need to reclaim that word from the toxic energy or the convoluted energy or corrupted energy that we've seen in the collective, in the community. So this is all going to be about sacred partnerships. Everything that we've been channeling here, we're going to put it into a condensed version in the workshop. There will be a replay for purchase available as well. So make sure that you guys are staying tuned because I do want to bring that forward. So that split and that division, you're always in union, no matter where you are in the world, no matter if you are in communication or not, because you feel it in the heart space. Now, part of union is coming together in the physical, but it's all about divine timing, or I should say it's all about energetic alignment. Sometimes you have to go your separate ways in order to complete the healing work, because it is an individual journey as much as it is a journey together. Now, you're always one. You are always essentially together, united as one. Energetically, you are one soul having the experience in two separate bodies. And so it looks like polar opposites. Even though you have shared experiences or you have parallel experiences or similar experiences, it might look on the surface very different. You might look on the surface very different from one another. It's a very different connection than soulmates, even higher level soulmates, which we do talk about and embrace here on this channel because this is all about ascension relationships and sacred partnerships. But when we're talking about twin flames specifically, we are talking about that one soul embodied in two physical embodiments. And it's because you're going through a period of rapid acceleration. And what better way for a soul to evolve than to experience in all different aspects in many different ways in two different bodies. So that being said, and we'll talk about more, we've talked about that in sacred channelings, we'll talk about that more in the workshop. Bringing this back to the spread, which no way this was going to be a mini reading. When I'm looking at your union space, I pulled 2 cards for the union space. This is my friend Luna Marie's deck. If you would like to purchase this deck, I was able to get a 10% discount for you guys using my affiliate link. It's in the description box. Take back your power and union. And I was floored when the union card came out because that's exactly what this is. When you are both claiming your power, and power is not corruption. Power is not force. It is not control. It is not coercion. It is not manipulation. That is the old paradigm of what we thought power was. Power is sovereignty. Power is authenticity. Power is embodiment. Do not confuse power with control. Power is self-empowerment, self-responsibility, self-accountability, self-awareness. That is your power, and you then embody that in your true soul authenticity. That is true power. That is what leads to union within the self, and the more both of you create that union and that wholeness within the self, the more you come into that union and those energies are merged with one another. And that is magnified. The power and the love, the unconditional love, is magnified then tenfold because of the love that you experience together, because of your union. It is the merging of the energies. Remember, divine feminine, your masculine is your own masculine energy pushed out. Divine feminine, or divine masculine, your feminine energy is your own feminine energy pushed out, reflected. If you have not healed your masculine energy, then there's still more healing reflected in your outward relationship. If you have not healed your feminine energy, then you're going to see that projected in your feminine. And it's not necessarily who they are, but it's what you're seeing in them. It's the projection. It's the reflection. If you, divine masculine, are still having trouble with feminine energy expressing yourself, then you might be looking at your divine feminine and seeing her as being communicative and expression oriented and authentic, and looking at yourself in a version of lack, but it's only because your own feminine energy has not yet been healed. Divine feminines, if you are looking at your divine masculine and seeing a lack of consistency or a lack of stability, then you have to look within yourself and continue to build your own stability and your own consistency. Now, this does not in any way excuse one another from doing the healing work. What this does is it asks you to look within. Where is your counterpart showing you what needs to be healed? Your counterpart is always showing you the opportunity of what needs to be healed within. Okay, I want to see if they want to talk more about that, but I feel like we're going to move on. Okay, so I pulled tarot first, which was really interesting. And the first card that came out for the Divine Masculine was the Empress card. Well, first I'm going to talk about the bottom of the deck. So we have the Ace of Swords at the bottom of the deck. And I do feel like the masculine is receiving more clarity. Now, this is divine clarity. This is not the ego that is, telling them one thing or the other in the old distorted sense. This is true divine clarity that is coming in. This is true wisdom that is coming in. This is their opening of that crown chakra. And so with that clarity, I feel like they are beginning to understand their own inner feminine energy, which is helping them understand and heal the outer connection with their divine feminine. I do feel like there has been a lot of pain in the connection, and I feel like your divine masculine is very much aware of the pain in the connection. So we're going to take these two cards here. We have the Ten of Swords and we have the Temperance card. And I feel like the divine masculine is recognizing, I feel like they're recognizing their own pain, but the pain that they caused due to their actions and their behaviors. It's almost like they're seeing that the pain that they caused their feminines only created pain for themselves as well, because they were holding back, because they were resisting, because they were not expressing themselves, which means that they were not expressing their hearts. They were not expressing themselves in true authenticity. They were not expressing love. And that's what you have between these two divine counterparts. You have love. So anywhere where the divine masculine was initiating poor behavior or repeating patterns or cycles, or where they were letting their trauma get the better of them and not healing that trauma and causing pain within the connection, they were only causing pain within themselves. They're recognizing that their feminine or other people in their lives have not betrayed them. They've been betraying themselves by not being true to themselves, by not being true to their heart, by listening to their ego, and that's where they're receiving that clarity as well. Their feminine energy within themselves is rising. And as that happens, they're understanding clearer and clearer their own intuition and their own heart. We talk a lot about the divine feminine energy within the masculine rising, so I'm not going to go too deep into that today. But this is where they were betraying themselves, and they're recognizing, oh, maybe I've been the one bringing the drama. Maybe I'm the one that's bringing the pain. Maybe I'm the one that has been creating so much of the pain within the connection. Now, that does not excuse, of course, the other person. But you always have to look within and say, okay, where do I need to take responsibility for this? Where do I need to hold myself accountable for this? Where do I need to be aware of myself enough to recognize where my patterns and my trauma and my behaviors are contributing to this conflict or this drama or this pain? That's what the divine masculine is going through right now. It's a little bit of a dark night of the soul. And so there is healing that is possible here. I feel almost like the divine masculine is this fire energy and the divine feminine is this water energy. The divine feminine feels a little bit cooler. I feel the divine masculine is a little bit heated. But what happens is when you put those together, it's tempered. And I feel like that's the ego. The masculine energy is the ego. The feminine energy is the intuition. And when you put it together, you integrate it so that something new arises. And what arises is higher consciousness, higher awareness, higher self. That's what is birthed. That's what blooms. That's what is being birthed right here. So there's great healing, as we had channeled yesterday. There's great healing that is possible here. But the divine masculine needs to recognize where they were resisting that healing. And part of the reason why they were resisting it is because they recognize how painful it was to take that self-accountability. But the more they break through that, the more that they allow that healing to take place, the more it's going to completely transform themselves and their lives into that higher octave. So I asked for some more clarity, and these two cards came out at once. And again, floored. I do very much feel like union with their counterpart, with their feminine, is on their mind. I do truly feel like they are feeling the connection. They are conscious of the connection. And I do feel like they very deeply love the divine feminine. But there's healing that needs to take place here first. I feel like before any communication, and communication can be coming in. But before... It does really feel like this is going to be not a process, because I feel like the process is already taking root, and I don't feel like it's going to take much time. I just feel like there's more healing that needs to take place. This is what feels like it's in the divine masculine's heart. I don't feel like we're seeing action quite yet. I mean, we could be. Anything can change in an instant. It all depends on energy, right? It all depends on choice. It's the conscious awareness. It's the conscious choice. But I do feel like this is what's in their heart. I do feel like they're showing me the vine that's growing between them. It's this. This is that union that's growing between them. So I do feel Cupid's arrow there as well. I do feel like they're wanting this union. I do feel as if they are really feeling this connection. And what I'm actually getting is this is the higher frequency that is being birthed into the physical, but it's coming with the divine masculine's healing. So there's some healing that needs to happen for the divine masculine first. Divine feminine on your side as well. There's healing on your side. It's not quite as in depth because you've already been through it, divine feminine. So it's the masculine's turn. It's almost like the roles have been reversed a little bit, and the divine masculines are going to go through some very deep levels of themselves, which brings a sense of beauty. Because the deeper you go within yourself, the deeper you go within your soul. And the more truth that you find, the more understanding that you find, and the more connection that you have with God's source. The more connection you have with God's source, the more connection you have with yourself, the more connection you have with each other. It is that Trinity energy. So I do feel like union is on their mind. I do feel like you're on their mind. I do even feel like some kind of commitment is on their mind, because you're always devoted to each other. Whether you are with each other in the physical, in the human experience or not, you are devoted to each other because you are each other. That love is unconditional. We cannot wrap our human minds around unconditional love because we have not experienced it in the physical plane, not in this earthly plane. And so it's very hard for us to understand what unconditional love is, but that is what you two have with each other. So it does feel like divine masculines holding this in their heart. They're going through quite a lot right now. I'm going to continue with the divine masculine, and then I'm going to do a feminine reading. So we're going to do it a little bit different this time. So the divine masculine too, we have this appreciation card, and I feel like this is that Empress energy. I feel like this is the divine feminine again. I feel like he is seeing her in a new light. I feel that he is thinking about her in a different view, and it's because his own inner feminine energy is healing. It's softening, where he had been very resistant to feminine energy within himself because he was in a very distorted masculine energy. I feel like the feminine energy is rising within him, and so he's seeing his own outer feminine in a new light. Now, I want to take a moment and talk about distortion between the masculine and the feminine. So, I had posted something just the other day, I think just yesterday, about what distorted masculine energy is. So distorted masculine energy is entitled. It's chaotic. It doesn't have discipline or structure. It controls, it coerces, and manipulates. It projects and blames rather than fully taking accountability and responsibility for their own actions, behaviors, and creations. It leads from the ego, which doesn't trust intuition. It is unable to discern between ego and soul intuition. It takes or claims, which is like a power grab. Masculine energy, divine masculine energy, is a natural giver, provider, and protector. Distorted masculine also numbs out or shuts down their emotions through various mechanisms. And you can think of divine masculine energy as the antithesis of these points, which is healthy, honest, and in integrity. So, what shifts the energy from the distortion to the divine? Fearlessly looking at this programming, the trauma or patterns that leads to this distortions, which is what they're doing now. They are really looking at themselves and saying, oh, I was just betraying myself. It wasn't other people betraying me. It's where I wasn't able to stand up for myself. It's where I wasn't able to have discipline with others or boundaries with others. It's where I was just shutting down my emotions. It's where I wasn't listening to my intuition. I was listening to my ego, or I was listening to outside influences. It's where I was trying to control rather than trusting and surrendering. So as they work on shifting the behaviors and actions that stems from this old energy, they are able to consciously heal and integrate themselves, their highest self, their true self, their soul self. So with this, what's happening is the divine masculine is truly learning what it means to be a conscious masculine. They are understanding where they had abandoned themselves, where they had ghosted themselves. If they had ghosted the feminine, if they had gone non-communication, they were just not communicating with themselves. They were just not expressing themselves. If they had brought pain upon the connection, they were hurting themselves. They're taking it all in and recognizing, oh, this is where my trauma has led me to this pattern. This is where this pattern has led to this behavior. This is where this behavior has led to this pain. They're really taking it all in and seeing these steps and saying, wait a minute, I need to do the inner work now. I need to go deeper than I've ever been. And it might be painful, but I know that I'm supported. I know that I'm guided. I know that I'm loved. Divine masculine can feel the feminine energy. Now, feminine energy is a little bit of go your own way right now. She's in a very kind of resistant energy herself, but it's not resistance from a resentment standpoint. It's just kind of like, you need to do your healing. And she knows that she's holding space for her masculine. She's holding that unconditional love for her masculine, but she knows that the masculine has to stand on his own 2 feet, find his own stability, find his own sacred self. And he has that all within him. He has it all within him. He just needs to believe it for himself. And he's getting there. So he's learning how to appreciate him, and he's learning how to appreciate his feminine. So I'm going to get to this in a second. What is the divine masculine actually surrendering? They're surrendering fear. In, I think it was the last reading, we had the image of, let me see if I can get it. You guys know I like my visuals here. It was this card here. It was the image of change, or the card of change. But it's this image specifically that I was being called to. And it was this being the masculine, where in the past they had just resisted, where they had allowed other people to walk all over them, where they had, and it's not standing up for yourself in, again, a controlling way. They're learning to discern what that means now. It's standing up for yourself in coming from the heart, coming from a place of authenticity. I can tell you how my own inner masculine dealt with this yesterday. I had an appointment and somebody wanted to change the appointment because they were going to be there early, and that wasn't convenient for me. And so rather than sacrificing myself and rushing around and going crazy for myself, I said, you know what, that's not going to work for me. I'd like to keep the original appointment. And it was fine. But that was my own inner masculine that was standing up for myself and not sacrificing myself to abide by somebody else. It was me communicating my own inner masculine, communicating my own needs rather than sacrificing immediately, which I had done in the past. So that's this energy here. It's rather than the world pushing against the divine masculine, they're learning to say, you know what? Nope. I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to honor myself. I'll try to put a link to this reading in the description box because it was extremely powerful. And I think that it might have been a collective message as well. I'll put a link in the description box because I think it might resonate for you guys if you're resonating with this reading here. But this was an extremely powerful representation of the change and transformation the divine masculine is currently going through, where now, where they had just been kind of accepting and allowing toxicity or poor behavior or poor patterns based on their own trauma. Now they're just learning how to heal and say, you know what, nope, nope. So that's what this surrender fear is. They are allowing themselves to move through anywhere, fight through, I'm hearing. This is them taking back their power, fight through their own patterns and their own trauma, recognizing where that change needs to take place, and that change needs to take place within first and foremost. This says, let go of the fearful stories you are telling yourself. Stay in the moment, focus on solutions, and celebrate every baby step forward. So where they had been afraid of facing themselves, where they had been afraid of really looking at their trauma to heal it, or looking at their patterns, looking at themselves, they're allowing themselves to do so. This is a higher level of awareness than we've ever seen from the Divine Masculine. What's healing? Well, it's all about connection right now for the Divine Masculine. Not so much for the Divine Feminine, we'll get to that in a second, but for the Divine Masculine, it's all about the connection. Again, they are feeling the Divine Feminine energy. And with the Soulmate card and the Dreams card, it's like they're allowing themselves to open up to, oh, I can have this. Because for so long, they were in resistance. Resistance being the key word for the masculine energy. They had been resistant because they didn't believe that love like this was possible. Because they didn't believe that they were allowed to have happily ever after for themselves. They didn't believe that they could create the life that they wanted. Divine, distorted masculine was in a place of, I'm going to take everything that I want, without regard to anybody else, without consideration of anybody else's feelings. That is a trauma response, because their own needs as children weren't met. And look, we have the children here. Because they were abandoned, because they were rejected, because they were betrayed. Those 3 core wounds. Because they were neglected. Their own needs as children were neglected. And so they learned, let me just take. Let me just take what I want. Let me just claim what I want. But that is a distortion. That is a trauma response. That was a survival mechanism for them. And now that they're healing, they're recognizing, you know what? It's all about co-creatorship. It's co-creatorship within myself and with God, the universe. It's co-creatorship with my Divine Feminine and true partnership. It's co-creatorship with every connection that I have with every living being around me. Because we are all part of the same unity consciousness. We are all unique threads in the tapestry of creation. We all make up the universe. And so it's not taking from one. That's lack consciousness. It's a fear that you don't have enough, or that you will never have enough. But you will always have what is rightfully yours. Or you will always manifest what is rightfully yours without taking it. Taking is the distortion. You create, you do not take. And so that is just divine masculine energy, where they give, where they create. That's the balance with the feminine, because the feminine energy is creation energy. And so that is the inner union for the Divine Masculine, is recognizing, oh, I don't have to take. I can balance this out, my give and receive. I can be in this creation energy. And so they're recognizing, I can have this. I can have everything that I want. I don't have to take it. I don't have to control it. I don't have to go by the mechanisms that I had done in the past. And I feel like they're allowing themselves to dream bigger than they've ever wanted, because this awakening Divine Masculine is somebody who is recognizing that they had been playing small all their life. And I don't mean small as in career or not having ambition. That's for some, that might be the case. I mean playing small within themselves, hiding themselves, withholding themselves, not expressing themselves, not being true to themselves. Again, letting other people or obligations or duties take over them, or sacrificing themselves for others. Now this is them allowing themselves to dream. This is what I want for my life. This is what I want to create. This is my dream. Divine masculine energy has purpose and direction. And I feel like they are beginning to dream again and find that. And it's the Divine Feminine who has woken them up to that. And that was not comfortable for the Divine Masculine. They did not like that, because they had been in their own little world, their world of comfort, their world of just skating by. even successful, or on the surface materially successful masculines, it was still an energy of distortion, because they were in the energy of comfort. They were going by material wealth as a barometer for their success or for a well-lived life. Now they're recognizing a well-lived life is being and embodying their true authentic self, which means living and creating the life of their dreams, not just from a material standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint. Who are you? Are you a good human being? Are you embodying your true soul self in this physical incarnation? Are you balancing what it means to be human and what it means to be soul? And are you living from that place of authenticity? That's what the Divine Masculine is learning right now. That is the almost dark night of the soul that they're experiencing right now, because this is a rude awakening. And Divine Masculine, just like Divine Feminine, we all go through different layers and levels of awakening and ascension. And this is especially for those who have been in resistance, this is a massive, massive awakening and accelerated ascension. This is the next level for these Divine Masculines. Okay, I'm going to get to, I'll do this one too. How are they feeling about the connection? Again, this energy. This wedding card is my union card. We have the Four of Wands here as well. We have the Lover's card. They are feeling this. They are feeling the union with their Divine Feminine. They are feeling the love within their heart. For so long they denied that because it was scary to them. Because here they have a Divine Feminine. They had not experienced Divine Feminine energy before. It had always been distorted feminine energy. And now they're recognizing, oh, okay, this could be my partner. This could be my equal match. So they're really feeling this energy. And it might be a little bit still fearful for them, but that's what they are letting go of. And eventually they will understand what it means to just be open-hearted, especially when it comes to this connection, to just allow themselves to be intimate and vulnerable when it comes to this connection. And that what happens when that happens is love and magic. When there's resistance, there's lack. When there's resistance, there's conflict. When you are allowing yourself to flow with the energy of love, which means vulnerability, which means intimacy, which means self-expression, which means that open heart, and allowing that energy just to pour out of you, that love just to pour out of you and express itself, that is what creates magic. That is what creates, period. But resistance is what holds you back from your manifestations, from your creations, from the magic itself, from union. And so there's this moving through of the resistance now. There's this push from the universe to move through any resistance. And resistance is just trauma. Resistance is just fear. All right. Let's go over to the Divine Feminines. Divine Feminines, you are working on your stability, and I feel like you're working on your finances, you're working on your abundance, you're working on your career, whatever this is something in your material world where you are building a new foundation for yourself. And we have been channeling that for the past couple of months, where it felt like the old had to fall away in order to create the new, because the old was very disjointed. The old was an old energy. And so now that you're in a new and higher frequency, your physical world has to align to that. And so now you're working on that. Now you're creating that. It's very interesting how it's switched, and we talked about that a couple of readings ago, how the feminine is really working on their material world, the masculine is really working on their spiritual world. Now, that doesn't mean that you ignore your material world for the spiritual. You balance that out. You still have bills to pay. You still have responsibilities. You still have family. But it's very interesting that the focus is more spiritual and inner work oriented for the masculine. It's very material and tangible and even financial for the Divine Feminine. But this is all creating a sense of wholeness. So here we have the Justice card and the World, and a major ending has happened for you. A major cycle has happened. And I feel like this is actually bringing in more balance for you, more peace and more balance. And I feel like part of that ending is you just kind of saying, I'm not allowing anything that is bringing down my energy to be part of my life anymore. This is relationships, people, situations. This is anywhere where you have been sacrificing yourself, betraying yourself, or abandoning yourself, especially for the sake of others. You are just bringing justice to yourself and to your life, your own self and your own life. You're balancing that out. You're bringing justice to yourself. That feels so important to say. You're bringing justice to yourself. This is also the clearing of karma. You have fulfilled so many soul contracts through the healing work that you've done. This is next level for you, Divine Feminine. And I want to take a moment and acknowledge you because I don't feel like you understand how big this transformation within yourself has become, and how you are embodying this new energy for yourself. Now, I do feel like, with the World card, they're saying success. Like, this is success for you. You have reached this level in your journey where you can be aware and acknowledge your growth and how you have expanded and how you have evolved within yourself. So a huge sense of peace, relief, and justice coming through for you. This is you just bringing justice to your life. There's a sense of closure, there's a sense of conclusion, and it's leading the way for, again, this rebirth, this new beginning. Man, it's been very difficult for you, Divine Feminines, but you should be very proud of yourself. Over here, we have the Page of Swords, and I wanted to clarify that further. We got the Seven of Swords, and we have the Emperor. And I feel like this Page of Swords is almost like looking side-eyed at the Divine Masculine, like, I love you, and I will always love you, and I will always hold space for you, and there will always be unconditional love. But I'm recognizing that I need a new beginning for myself. I'm recognizing where I was abandoning myself, where I was sabotaging myself for the sake of this connection, where I was not in a healthy place of my own inner masculine. And so this is part of that stability that they are finding for themselves, Divine Feminines. This is part of your stability that you're finding for yourself. It's your own inner masculine that is healing because you're not taking the bullshit anymore, and you're saying, I'm not taking the bullshit anymore. This Page of Swords feels almost like a Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Swords is somebody who is, she can be very blunt and she can be very cutting. She is, again, all the queens are aspects of the feminine energy. There's the nurturing, compassionate, loving energy of the Queen of Cups. There's the balanced, stable caretaker of the Queen of Pentacles. There's the fiery, passionate, wild energy of the Page of Wands. And there's the expressive, communicative, and no bullshit energy of the Queen of Swords. Well, the Queen of Swords is that one aspect where you're stepping up and you're saying, you know what? I'm not taking this bullshit anymore. I'm not going to allow myself to, if this is Divine Masculine energy, she's not allowing this, but she's also recognizing where she had allowed it. And as such, that's where she's taking responsibility and saying, you know what? I betrayed myself here. You know what? I abandoned myself here. You know what? I neglected myself here because I was accepting things that I should not have accepted. So she's taking responsibility for herself. She's holding herself accountable and doing her own healing work, which is helping to balance out her own inner masculine. Again, inner masculine is the one that is stable. It's the foundation. And I'm just getting root chakra energy. So it's that foundational energy. It's very stable. It's very secure. So she may not have felt entirely secure within herself. And so that's why she compromised herself. That's why she sacrificed herself. That's why she allowed and accepted such poor behavior, not just from the masculine, but from other people in her life. Her masculine was the one to just show her this. The masculine was the one who triggered her to seeing, okay, you know what? I'm not taking this from anybody anymore. Not just from my masculine, but this is me changing myself and changing my life and changing my pattern so that I don't abandon myself in any respect anymore. That's why the example that I gave yesterday, it was somebody that I don't even know. they had called to see if I could move an appointment because they were in the area and it was going to be, just a little bit earlier. And I said, you know what, I'm not prepared. I'm working right now. I set the appointment for a certain time and I'm not willing to compromise that. It's not convenient for me, so I have to say no. And it was fine. Like, it was no big deal. But it was that subtlety. It was a big deal to me because I realized I don't have to compromise myself. I don't have to inconvenience myself just to convenience other people. That was a huge lesson for me, especially as a former people pleaser. That was a huge lesson for me. And that was me being in my masculine energy and saying, you know what? Like, I'm going to feel stable and secure within myself. I'm going to honor myself. I'm going to take the lead for myself and say, you know what? This doesn't work for me. Let's keep the original time. So I feel like I feel like your divine masculine is just showing you the places in yourself where you are taking responsibility in that higher light for, hey, this is what I did in the past because of my own trauma, my own pain patterns, but I'm not doing that anymore. So there's huge healing going on for both masculine and feminine energies in a little bit of a different way, coming at it from different angles, but you're both healing the same thing. You're both mirroring each other and healing the same thing. So, okay. Divine feminine, you have the action card, and this again is you're going. You're just taking action for yourself. You're just like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to shine. I'm going to shine as brightly as I know I am meant to. I'm not going to hold myself back. I'm not going to abandon myself. I'm not going to reject myself. I'm not going to dim my light for the world or even for you, divine masculine, anymore. And it's not that she was dimming her light for her divine masculine. It's not that the divine masculine was asking her to do that. That's not this relationship. That's not this partnership. The masculine wants the feminine to rise and to shine. There's triggers that happen. There is resistance that happens because the feminine feels like she needs to hold back herself for the masculine. But that's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. That's the chain that you're breaking right now, where you feel like you need to hold yourself back for the masculine to heal, when in fact you need to keep shining your light so that your masculine can rise up and step up beside you. And your masculine is doing that. Your masculine is right there. And you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to keep shining. I'm just going to keep building my life and creating my life and finding peace and finding beauty. Divine masculine, I know you're right with me. I know you're right with me. And you don't have to be part of my life. I don't have to see you in order to know that you're right with me. Eventually, the masculine will meet. I just see the masculine, or this black horse, just racing beside the feminine, the white horse. And it's not that they're racing. It's not that they're in competition. There is no competition. There's no need for competition. It's that you guys are both running side by side, wild and free in your love for each other, in partnership, in relationship, in commitment with each other, in devotion with each other. That is where you're headed. Side by side, I see just both these beautiful two horses. This is a beautiful analogy. These beautiful two horses. You ever see a herd of horses, wild horses that are just full of joy and freedom, running side by side together? Because they feel that freedom and they feel that joy and they feel that love and they feel that life. That's what is happening here. And divine feminines, you have to go. You have to go first. You have to shine your light. The feminine energy naturally leads in the spiritual realm. The masculine energy leads in the physical, taking action. But the feminine energy leads in the spiritual. And so this is your union. This is your wholeness. This is you taking action for yourself and your life in your own masculine energy, feminine. But it's you being your core essence, feminine energy, that is saying, you know what, I just need to go. I just need to shine. I just need to create the biggest, best life for myself. And if you're not ready, divine masculine, that's okay, because I know that you're doing the work. I know that you're healing. I know that you are rising. And I know that someday, could be tomorrow, could be a couple months from now, could be a couple years from now. Time is an illusion. Energy shifts every moment. I know that one day I'm going to look over and you're going to be just shining so brightly in your full capacity, in your full authenticity and embodiment, as I have always seen you in your light, without the behaviors, without the distortions. I see you beside me, and we're going to experience love and joy and freedom together as we create this new world. Divine Feminine, surrender denial. Accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. And I feel like this is Divine Feminine, who is accepting, okay, this is where we are right now, and it's okay. I'm going to accept this, and I'm going to make the best decision that I need to for my life. And it's not going to be easy, but it's not holding yourself back anymore. It's shining as brightly as you can, because your bright light actually, I'm hearing, grants permission to the masculine to shine their light brightly too. An answered prayer. This is divine guidance. You have that divine guidance. You have that divine support. Anytime that you need clarity, recognize your connection to the divine. I'm also hearing that miracles are incoming. Miracles are incoming. It might feel a little bit dark right now. It might feel a little bit challenging right now, but miracles are incoming. Prayers are being answered. And give your relationship a chance. Work on your partnership. Allow yourself to keep, doesn't have to be in physical proximity with one another, but keep doing your own inner work and recognize that you are united, that you are one. And I'm being pointed to the castle here, and I've never seen the castle in this card before, but that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like you're not building castles in the sand anymore, because castles in the sand can get washed away. Now you're building castles on a sturdier and firmer foundation of love, of partnership. And that's making all the difference. So don't deny your connection. Feel into the connection. But also allow yourself to make the best decisions that you need for your life. And not of the connection as a whole, but for yourself, knowing that it's going to have an impact on the connection as well. Because as you are one with your divine counterpart, you're technically always making decisions together. If you're listening to your intuition, if you're listening to your heart, then you're always choosing together. And you're always trusting one another in that light as well. Okay, that felt big. I'm going to have to watch that back myself, because I don't remember a single thing that I channeled. All right, this feels like a little bit of a difficult energy, in that it feels like it could be triggering to some people who are watching this. So I do want to just say, have an open heart and an open mind, and anywhere it's triggering you, let that be an opportunity to look deep within yourself and see, why is it triggering and what can be healed, because that triggers are always opportunities to be healed, or for more understanding or greater understanding, especially greater understanding of the self. All right, you guys, I'm sending you so much love, so much light, and we'll be back soon. Bye.